Hello. I guess it's still good morning for a couple more minutes. We'll get started here in about another minute. We're going to do the Twisted Log Cabin. And I have not decided if I'm going to stop at tabletopper size or if I'm going to make this a throw quilt. If I decide to make it a throw quilt, I will write the new pattern for it over the weekend. Well, I haven't decided yet. As soon as I decide, but we're going to go for the tabletopper this week. And this is currently available on the website if you're interested. We'll welcome a couple more, and then I want to talk about this from the very beginning. Assuming nobody's made this before, because it is a pretty new pattern. I think we published this while I was still in Virginia. In the pattern, I'm not going to show you the whole pattern. Again, this is the cover, and this makes a 40 by 40 tabletopper. And we just, for this one, we just pulled Shadow Play fabrics from Maywood Studios. We just did the gradient with what we had in stock. And what I'm making this week is from, I don't know if I can get out far enough, this ombre fabric. Goes from yellow to green to blues, teals, blues, and then purples. So it's got a nice gradient. The only thing about using the ombre fabric is we have to cut it a little differently. And I will include, I'm going to add that to the instructions of the current pattern when I'm done here. Well, it'll have to be tomorrow. I will be adding the cutting instructions. You can do it from the cutting instructions that are in here, but the way I had to work with it, it would be much easier if I put them in the instructions, because you're going to cut crossways at 12.5-inch intervals. You're going to do that 8 times. It takes the same amount of fabric as what it says on the back on the supply list, but you're going to cut it by width of fabric every 12.5 inches, and then you're going to turn it and you're going to cut your strips across so you get the gradients. So I have my 12 gradient pieces here. This little chart's included in the pattern so you can keep track of what fabric goes where. If you're using the gradients like we did in the first and the one on the cover of the pattern, just cut a little snip of each one and put it on here just to refer to it in case you, like you leave the project for a little while and come back, you know right where you are. And this is the cutting instructions, and they look very daunting when you first look at it, but it does make sense. When you cut, first of all, before you begin anything, the first cut you want to make from your background fabric is one strip that is 1 3/4 inches wide. After that, everything you cut is 1.5 inches wide. And up at the very top of the cutting instructions, in red, it says background piece number 1 is the only strip cut at 1 3/4 inches by width of fabric. And if you're using like the one on the cover, 12 different fabrics, you just want to follow this. This tells you which fabric you're going to use. You're going to label your fabrics like on the chart. From fabric A, you're going to cut one strip that's 1.5 inches wide by the width of the fabric. You're going to turn it and recut so you get 32 1 3/4 inch pieces. That's for piece number 2 and number 4, just like it says over here, and so forth. Then on for fabric piece number 3, it's fabric A. You're going to cut 1 strip, and then you're going to turn and cut 16 1 3/4 inch pieces. Don't discard the rest of that strip because you can use it. I'm not sure. You might be able to get a 10.5 or something out of it, but don't throw any of it away until you're done. Anyway, you just go down here, and this tells you how many numbers of strips to cut, 1.5 inches wide, and then how long to cut them and how many you need. And then what I do is when I'm cutting for a quilt, I have a ton of empty bolts. I wrap them with batting, with scraps of batting, so the fabrics don't slip. And on this one, because there are 47 pieces, I made little labels, pinned them to the bolt, and then cut my pieces, and then I just laid them. So I have all my pieces now cut. It did take 3 empty bolts to hold all 47 stacks, but now they're all ready to go. So then this morning I came in, set that aside, and I just started at piece number 47, and I stacked all my pieces. They're in numerical order, all right side facing up, and I wrapped it inside the foundation. So now I'm ready to go. That quick. The cutting on this one does take a little longer than most, but you do have 47 pieces, and you're cutting for 16 blocks. So that's a lot of pieces. But if you keep it organized, like I did part of mine yesterday, and came back this morning and finished up, and I knew right where I was, so it really wasn't difficult. And before I go on sewing, I want to show you this. This is one of the new feet that I got, and I tried it the other day, and the toes are not close enough together. They go over the feed dogs, but they let your fabric bunch up or wander off. They don't hold it tight enough. So I'd ordered 2 different ones when I ordered this one. I ordered this one, and then one that it looks like the toes are closer and they're actually a little longer. And for some reason, shipping got held up. They were supposed to be here yesterday. It was supposed to be here yesterday. And I got a message that it won't be here till Saturday. So hopefully it'll come Saturday morning, and I can give it a try before we do the show then. So I reverted back to my old original foot, which I'm still not thrilled with, but it's the best I can do. I tried all the other feet that came with my machine, and they have an opening all the way, but it's so tight back where the needle goes, you can't really make sure that you're on the line when you're sewing. So we'll do this one till the new one comes, and I'm not going to quit till I find a good one. So now to get started with the block, let's get started and have some fun. If I can scoot in here. Okay, off my stack, I'm going to take fabric piece number 1. It's a little wrinkled. I'm going to press it. I guess that's a little bit better. And you want to start, this is a grunge, a silver grunge. Yeah, this is the right side. So I'm going to put it down with the wrong side facing up, just like that, if you can see that. I'm going to take my foundation block, set it on top of that fabric, and I want to have about, I want to have about 1/4 inch of fabric going past the line here. This is space 2 here. This is space 1. There's about 1/4 inch of fabric going past that line. And of course, you want to make sure that you've got at least 1/4 inch around the other 3 sides. And when it's in this position, you want to be able to read the printing on the foundation. And it does say out in the seam allowance, it does say, I don't know if you can see this, stitch with this side facing up, fabric underneath. So this is the right side of the foundation you're going to work on, and you're looking through it to the wrong side of your fabrics. So then we're going to flip it over so the right side of our fabric is facing up. We're going to take fabric piece number 2, and we're going to put right sides together and the edges even. And after all these years, I do still like, ooh, that's an awfully long pin. I do like to pin it. And then we're going to turn it over, and we're going to stitch on that little line between 1 and 2 from this point here to this point down here. I use a regular stitch length, and I don't back stitch. As long as you're going to have stitches, lines of stitching going across the end of your stitch line, you don't need to back stitch. And when we get out to the last one going across and no more lines crossing it, then we run our line of stitching all the way out to the broken line. And if you've watched me, you know that I do not like threads. I take the time to cut them. Okay, so after we've stitched it, we're going to take it to the ironing mat. I like to set those stitches. And then I'm going to press it open nice and flat. And I think I have, yeah, I'm on the right setting. Okay, so after step number 2 is to stitch. Step number 3 is to trim to get ready to stitch again. And where is my straight edge? Oh, okay. This is space number 3. This is where we're going to sew it on. So we're going to line our straight edge. This is a grippy straight edge. It's a piece of cardstock that's been laminated with fine grit sandpaper. It kind of helps to hold everything in place, keeps it from slipping. And we're just going to trim that little bit off. And yes, that little bit does make a difference because our sizes that we cut our fabrics are based on putting it on a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so there we have our 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're going to turn it over. And we're going to take fabric piece number 3. And I did cut these. It calls for 1.5 inches. And I cut them 1 3/4 just because I wanted to evenly divide across the width of the fabric. So if they look like they're a little too big, that's why. It made it real easy to keep the gradient going in this ombre fabric. Put the needle down right there and stitch on the line. This being a log cabin, we're just going to keep going around and around. Remember, use a regular stitch length because you're going to be leaving this foundation in. Okay, and now we're going to turn it. Number 4 is right here. This is where we're going to sew it on. So we want to trim. It's kind of nice to be back to a regular schedule again. It's been kind of crazy around here. And then piece number 4, fabric, right sides together. And I do put about 1/4 inch of the fabric past this line here, and I want most of the fabric going off to the left, because you have to remember that this line here keeps going another 1/4 of an inch. I don't know why I keep grabbing that long pin. So I hope everybody had, I know it's Thursday, getting time for another weekend, but I haven't talked to you guys since last Saturday. Hope everybody's had a great week. Hope you're working on something spectacular. Did you pull any scraps out? Okay, and then we're just going to keep doing these 3 steps. Ouch. And yes, I do use steam. I know a lot of quilters don't like steam, and it's entirely up to you. Okay, number 5 right there. And it doesn't look like we have much of anything to trim off. Not really. Not a lot of waste here. And then this one, and on these gradients, this is the brightest yellow, so I want that to be the part that shows the most. I guess I should iron that little crease out. And this fabric, the yellow's in the middle. So for every strip you cut, you get enough for 2, for 2 blocks. Whoops. Take my pen out. Okay, so we got our first round done. And now we're going to add number 6. We're going to start the next round. Number 6 is right here, and this is where we're going to sew it on. And I like to turn it over so I keep that cut edge kind of facing up on top. Okay, and this is a background piece. So I'll put that just like that. And I can actually do that without pinning. I grab it like that and turn it over. Get my threads going the right direction. And then step number 2 is to give that a good little press. And there we have, look at that perfect point. It's always fun. Okay, number 7 is right here. Kind of hard to see with the dark fabric behind it. And we're just gonna line that up, fold that back. Just like that, and then grab it, turn it over. And if you don't feel comfortable not pinning, by all means pin. Just make sure you pin down away from where you're going to sew, because the pin will be on the underneath side. And then and another perfect point. Okay, 7, whoops, twisted it the wrong way. 7, 8 is right there. Remember I talked about pushing your fabric 1 or 2 threads forward if it's a light color going over a dark color. Did that there. I haven't had any problems, but just in case. Okay, so I'm guessing number 9 is right there. This is not a hurry up project. You know, it's going to take a little while. You have 16 blocks that have 49 pieces. So figure 50 blocks. I got to do that math in my head. Okay, now here again on this ombre, the lighter color is at the top. That's where I want to set it to stitch it. That's one thing. If you're working with the solids, the 12 different gradient colors, you don't have to worry about that. It would be nice to have a thread cutter, I guess. Except you don't miss what you never had, and I've sewn on them, but doesn't really look like much yet, does it? Okay, that was number 9. Number 10 is right here. And this is one you do not want to accidentally stitch on the wrong side of the foundation, because it will not go together right with your other blocks. You will get a mirror image, and it won't make this design. So this is one of those you really do need to pay attention, and always make sure when you're stitching and you're trimming, you can read the numbers. And each round of stitching, my lines are getting longer. I turn it opposite. That's 11. I know that's hard to see, but that is number 11. And see on this one, purple and more blue here, I want the purple edge. So I've been working on hexie projects in my spare time. And my applique one has grown. And I'm loving it. It's got a very old-fashioned look to it. And someone wanted to see how to join the hexie flowers to the background, so I did a quick little video, and I wanted to show her for real, so I dug out some of my old hexie projects that are not completed, and oh my goodness, I forgot what beautiful projects I had going. I'm so excited now that I didn't stash them away. Number 12 is here. We're going to sew it on right here. And I got really excited. I had one project that I forgot it was so far along. So it is the next hexie project to complete. Well, not the next. I've got these two on the board. These two are my most important ones. And then And then I'll work on that one. And that one is the one I wanted to make into the block of the month. I didn't know I had so many months done. And I don't sew fast on this one. I'm much more concerned about the accuracy, because when it's done, it looks like it's curved seaming, and it's not. It's just all straight lines. And I'll tell you, my geometry really came in handy when I designed this one. I don't know why I put that there. Okay, you can kind of see we're starting to get our twist. That was 12, 13's right here. Let's fold that back. Now, when you watch Laura, she puts her grippy straight edge down the opposite way. And I've tried it. It's just, you know, it's like usually how you start is what becomes habit. She puts it down like this, and I can see if you take your time and you set it there, you don't have to move it. I can see that works. I'm just always in a hurry and, you know, slide it up there, and it won't slide if you put sandpaper side down. Let's see, this one's yellowy. We're going on a little excursion this afternoon. Our grandson, our oldest grandson, is in a play. I don't even know what it's about. I don't know what part he has in it. I just know he's been working on it for months. And he's very excited about it. So we're going to go see what it's all about today. Okay, I think that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the third round. That was 13, 14's here. Oops. And remember, all of our lives, we do put them on. It takes about 24 hours to get it on the channel. So if you miss anything, or if you decide, like, say you want to do the hexes, you can go back, and I try to put a name on it to let you know what the subject matter was. And number 15 is right there. So you can always refer back to them. And my lives are probably geared less towards fun and social, and a little more towards, you know, giving you a personal lessons or whatever, like a personal class. You can stop it and start it and play it over and all that good stuff. And while I'm doing this, if you have any questions, I try to keep up with comments. And if I miss something or whatever, you can send me a message anytime. Ask advice, how to do something, whatever. $16 is right there. We just did 15, 16. Whoops, press that one a little wonky. See, now I don't know how far down this goes. This piece. Yeah, it's going to go down to there. So I push that up just a thread or two past the fabric underneath. That looks like more than a thread or two. That's the nice thing about these foundations. You can see right where everything is. Unlike paper. $16, $17. Right there. Been having a little trouble with the tension on my machine. I think I'm going to have to do a little maintenance work in the next couple days. Now we can see that swirling effect going on. 17, 18. $19 is right there. I talked to Laura this morning and she's feeling better. And I don't know if she wanted anybody to know, but she's on a little mini vacation. Well deserved. And would you believe the Hexie quilt I made from the blue scrap bin is still on the long arm. I haven't touched it in days. Let's see, 19, 20. Maybe this weekend I'll get to it and get it finished. I love quilting. I love every aspect of quilting, but some just get put by the wayside or on hold. It's like bindings. I don't know what it is about. I love it when a quilt gets bound and I don't mind stitching it at all, by hand. It's so satisfying. But it's just like it's always the last thing on the to-do list. And I don't know why, except I think we talked about this before, I'm always so anxious to get going on the next project, or I have so many projects going at one time. I don't know how to rein that in. 21. Many things going on my computer. Okay, that's still a little yellowy there. And then in the middle, on the halfway round, our colors are going to kind of, well, they don't touch each other, but we'll start going the other direction with the colors. Oh, that was 19, 20. I got 20 done, 21, 22. I knew I turned it the wrong direction. See, I have little glitches there. I have to see if that works. Still keeping those points right on. Look at how it looks like it's curved. Isn't that cool? Looks like a boot. Okay, that was 22. This should be 23. Gorgeous day today. Hope it stays like that for a few days so I got tomatoes on the tomato plants. Yay. Okay, see, this one is going, you can see kind of from the greenish blue down to the blue. So, whoops, we're going to turn it 23, yeah. Is that right? That's not the right one. I think it is. Now I gotta look. 23 over here on my stack. 20, 23, 23, where are you? 23. Yeah, it's pretty turquoise. So we're going to go like this. How's that original one look? I'm on the blue side. Yeah, it goes, yeah, that's right. Just want to be sure. Oh, Italy. Whereabouts in Italy? My son lived there for 4 years. This is a leave-in foundation. It's like, have you heard of paper piecing before? This is the same process, but you're going to leave it in. You don't have to rip it out like the paper. It's a lot easier to work with than paper. Number, what was that? 20, 23, 24 is right here. And I think starting July 1st, we will be able to ship internationally. At least that's the goal. We've been working on that. My son lived in Sicily, up above north of Venice. Oh, okay. We went to Milan. We got to go over and visit for almost 3 months, and I loved every minute of it. Northern California, near Santa Rosa. I did a quilt guild trunk show and workshop up there, near there. I'm trying to remember where it was. Petaluma. I don't honestly remember, but I know it was up in that area. 25. That means when we do number 25, we're over halfway through this one. I think it's time to bring out the big attic quarter. It is nice to have both. Although for probably the first 10 years I paper pieced, I didn't know they made anything other than a 6-inch attic quarter ruler. I just learned how to slide it up. No, he lived in Sicily. It's north of Venice. He was stationed at Aviano. I think he was, the first year or two he was there, he was at Vincenza. Well, I can always come back. Do you belong to the guild up in Petaluma? See, this is our halfway round, and it looks like the two colors are the same as they pass. Let's see, that was number 25. I keep turning this in the wrong direction. Number 26 is right there. I am doing a workshop up in Union City for the Peacemakers Quilt Guild in Union City. I'm doing that next month. I don't know if they allow non-members to come and participate. I'm going to be teaching the Migrating Lone Star. This is what we're working on. This is the pattern. Twisted log cabin table topper. Let's see. That was number 26. Number 27 is right here. And we're headed down to green, so I want to make sure that when I open it up, it's more green that direction. I have so many beautiful, I think this is called Gelato Ombre. I bought the whole line. I loved them all. I couldn't decide which one, so I just bought them all. I did have a specific pattern that I'm still working on that I bought them for, but I've been stealing from the collection to make other projects like this one. I used a gorgeous one in a table runner, Double wedding ring table runner, or a wedding star table runner. Okay, that was number 27. Number 28 is right here. Oh, Everett Starr. That is my grandson, Everett. That was named for him. And that's who we're going to see this afternoon. He's my little star. He's in a play tonight. So Grandma's anxious. In fact, we're going to cut out a little early today, because it's about a 2.5-hour drive. Provided traffic's good. Awesome. 28, 29 is right here. Well, all the foundations are numbered in they go in numerical order. You always start with, let me turn this around, see if you can see it, with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a log cabin, so it just keeps going around. And then the cutting chart shows you the piece number and which fabric to use, and how many. This particular one, you cut everything in strips by the width of fabric, and then you recut to these different lengths, and then it tells you how many you need to make the project. And we include in the pattern a chart let me show you one that doesn't have the fabrics. It comes like this. So when you pick your fabrics, I put one in each, put the proper fabric in the proper place, so you can refer to it when you're doing your cutting chart. And then those piece numbers refer to the piece numbers on the foundation. And then you probably missed when I first started today, I have all my pieces stacked up here. This is the rest of them for this block. And I stack them in numerical order with number 1 on top, the last piece on the bottom, all of them right side up. And then I usually will do that for several at a time, and then I'll roll them up like this. Now, if I was stopping right now today, I would do this and I would roll it up. So then when I come back to it in a day or two or a week or a month, I can open it up and I know right where I am. I know that this is the next piece that's going to go on here. So that's number 29. And then you just put right sides together and turn it over and stitch on the line. And your cutting does not have to be real accurate. Like I said, I just for convenience sake, in splitting out the ombre fabric to get it the gradation of the colors to come out right. If I had 44 inches of usable fabric, so I just, or 43, whatever, I cut it, it worked out perfectly if I cut them instead of 1.5 inches, if I cut them 1 3/4 inches. So they're a little wider than what you need, but it doesn't matter. It's sewing on the line that gives you the accuracy. So cutting out is so much easier because you don't have to stress at all. $29.30. And then once you have your pieces all stacked in order, it's kind of mindless sewing. And paper piecing, I was an avid paper piecer for years, but I just hated taking the paper out. There was a lot of things I did not like about paper piecing, but I did love the finished product. So I put up with a lot of things that I did not like. One thing I did not like was I never once had a pattern tell me what size to cut my pieces. And if they were angled, I always cut them at the wrong angle. And I figured when I started this, I had to figure out what size to cut the piece to make my samples. Why not share that? Make it as easy as possible. And of course, it took me a long time to realize what sewing on paper was doing to my needles. It dulled my needles. Oh, I think I fixed my, it's better anyway, my tension. It dulled my needles, and then that would make my tension go wacky. And instead of realizing it was my needle, I was messing with the machine. I knew this problem's not needle. I just put a new needle in. So that was another thing. And then, of course, the big thing was taking the paper out. And then I got smart, and my husband is a very precise, very, very, very precision-oriented when he does anything. So he took the paper out of 2 quilts for me. And then he said, no more. But, I would always think when I'm taking the paper out, I would always think, wow, I could be making a whole nother quilt in the time it takes me to take this paper out. And there's always bits of paper that you would miss. And it just got to the point where I didn't want to do anymore. And but I really liked what I was getting in the end. And we've owned a textile printing company since 1990. And I challenged myself to find a better way. And it took a little while, took a couple years working on the patent and fine-tuning this and finding an outlet in the United States to buy the blank foundation fabric from. They make it to our specifications. We told them what we wanted, and they provided me with a few samples. And we've been with them for about 11 years now, 11, 12 years. And it's exactly the same every time. And then we do, this is a fabric dye. just like you would dye fabrics, and it's permanent. And we do that here. So this is just, and it was not originally intended to be a business. We were semi-retired, doing a lot of traveling, and I would share it with people and would get phone calls wanting to know if it was available to buy or if I could do a certain pattern, whatever. So we sat down and talked about it and decided we were going to unretire. I'm still not sure my husband thought that was the wise choice, but I love it. I'm having so much fun. I have met so many wonderful people along the way, and it's my passion, so why not? I tell them it keeps me young, keeps me busy. 32, 33 is right there. It gives me a reason to get up every morning. I was just talking to Donald and Laura this morning that when I wake up in the middle of the night and I have all these ideas going through my head, things I want to design, things I want to make, things I want to play with down here, I should just get up. I used to. If I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would slip my sweats on and walk across the driveway to the shop and go to work. And somehow I quit doing that over the last year or two. And I said, I think I'm going to get back into that because some of my best ideas come to me in the middle of the night when I'm not even pushing myself to think about it. And I told him, my boss says I can take a nap the next day. That if I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to work, my boss says I can take a nap if I want. I always tell myself that, but rarely do I ever take a nap. This just keeps me too happy. My husband says it's unfair. 33, 34. What's that saying? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I just wish I would have started this when I was a lot younger. Yeah, this is so fine. It's very strong. The fabric itself is very strong, but it's super, super lightweight, so it doesn't add any weight or bulk to your quilt. I can see that stuff working perfect for cards. I think we just might finish a block today. That would be wonderful. I could join the two together. Yeah, this is the only way I quilt now. And I love it. Okay, that was number 34, number 35. And I think that's the darker side. Whoops. Yeah, my tension's still messed up a little bit. It's sort of pulling on the fabric a little bit. Oh, I'll have to share all this whole line with these ombres. They are just, it was very hard to decide what one I wanted to do. That was 3536s right here. Which colorway I wanted to go with. But it made it easy to get a, the gradations to go from the one colored, purple, blue, turquoise, green to yellow. I would not have thought of doing those or just pulling the plain fabrics for those. Of course, now I would, but this was an easy way to get that. Give this all a little. But you can see it is not difficult to do. There's a lot of pieces to it, but it's really pretty simple to get this awesome design from. 3637. Now we're starting to go from the blue to the purple. Whoops. See, now I can see that's turned under. If I was doing it with paper, I wouldn't have seen that, and I would have sewn it, folded over. And that was another thing. To take your stitching out of paper, you use that little tiny, tiny stitch. So if you have to unstitch, you ruin the paper, you're going to distort it. And then if you tape it back together, you got to stitch through tape, and then you got to get it out. And with this, if you have to unstitch, if I would have not caught that fold under, and this would have been folded under and stitched down, it's real easy to just remove your stitching And I recommend doing it on the fabric side. You know, take your stitches out as far back as you have to go. And you won't even know you stitched on the foundation. It's sort of self-healing. Okay, 37, 38. And if you're using a very lightweight, light fabric, and you think the printing on the foundation might show through, and I usually recommend taking it, like here's my light fabric, and putting it on a white background and see if you can see through it. And if you think you can, as you're going, just take some sharp scissors and cut out where the printing is. And if the printing in the seam allowance, if you think that might show, once you get this sewn, whoops, I guess it'd be help. If you think this stitching, this printing might show through a light fabric, once you stitch this to another block or sashing or whatever, take a seam ripper and just rip the foundation out. You won't know. I have never had to do it. I did have one customer who it showed through, and she did have to rip it out. Okay, number 37 is the one I just stitched. And I just trimmed to add piece number 38. I'm gonna, that dark blue down here, the dark blue, I don't know if it'll show through or not when I open this up. If I had it like this, and I stitch down here, and I open it up, I don't know if I would get a shadow from that dark blue or not, but you know what, just in case, I put my edges together and then I push it just a couple of threads past, so you won't get a shadow when you open that fabric up. You can do that with this because it's not the edge of your fabric, that you're not relying on a perfect 1/4 inch seam. It's the line that gives you the accuracy. So if you don't have a full 1/4 inch in your seam allowance, or you have a little over, it's okay. There's a little extra in the size that we have you cut your pieces, because I usually cut a lot of layers when I'm cutting all the same fabric, the same size. Like on this one, I would cut, I needed 16. I would cut 4 or 8 layers of fabric at a time. And you know that's not going to be real accurate, but it doesn't matter for this. You're not relying on a perfect cut and a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. 38, 39. We're getting out there. Whoops, don't want to iron a crease in there. Okay, 39/40 right here. Whoops. See, I wasn't paying attention. All I'm going to do is it's hard for me to see. That last stitch out. Come on. Excuse me. There we go. Okay. Make sure that's laying flat this time. Okay, 41 is over here. Yeah, it has me gun shy. We're going to work on this one again on Saturday, and hopefully I'll have a few of them that we can put together. A few blocks done. And then The following week, next week, we are going to work on a double wedding ring. And I have several variations. So we've got traditional double wedding ring. We have what we call the wedding star. And we have the, starlit rings. 41, 42's over here. You might want to look on the website at those, and I think each day, there's 3 different variations. Each day we'll do a different variation. You can see how easy they go together. So if you have a pattern, have one of those patterns or the blocks, and want to sew along, that'd be awesome. And the week after that, we're going to do the first jacket made from a sweatshirt. And the reason we're doing it from a sweatshirt is because a lot of quilters don't like to worry about sizing things or making them fit. And we all know what size sweatshirt we wear. So you buy a sweatshirt one size larger than what you normally wear, and we will make a jacket from that. And I'm going to be sending out a blog telling you what projects we're going to work on and the dates. So if you want to sew along, you have time to order. And 42, 43. So you can, if you want to sew along, you'll have time to order in advance and get your fabrics together, or order a kit, whatever, and or order a package of the blocks and sew along with me. That would be fun. Let's see, we're going to the lighter. I was hoping that we might get this to be in a sew along so you guys can share your sewing along with us. Remember, tell your friends to join us. Make it a party. That one, 43, 44. Oh my goodness, we're getting close. We're getting close. If you have trouble sewing on a straight line, I tell my students to put an old needle in their machine, don't thread it, take the bobbin out, grab a piece of your kid's binder paper, and just sew on the lines. Just practice punching holes. And you know what, guys? I ran out of bobbin thread. It's okay. I wound several this morning. Whoops. $44.45. I got to show you what's up on my design wall. From 2 weeks ago. I don't know if I got any more done. I think I did get a little bit more done. And then there's the applique one. You can see I'm almost up to the corner. So, and this is my first block, like the one I'm making today. And they're all made exactly the same way. $45. This way. Oops, see, I knew I folded that one over. These longer ones I probably should be pinning. They're easier to grip because they're out closer to the edge, but you got a lot more to control. And if you pin them, it makes them a lot easier to get to the machine. That was 45. Oh my goodness, I wasn't looking to the outside. We're on the last round now. Yikes. Okay, that's 46, 47 is here. I'm going to put a couple pins in. I think I needed to continue that line. When it gets down here, it gets a little confusing, but yeah, that's... Okay, and I keep... I'm guessing this is number 48 over here. Yeah, but that goes all the way down there. There we go. Keep flipping fabric up. Whoa. And our favorite piece is next. Yay. Number 49. I didn't cut this to length. I left it, I think I left it at 12.5 or whatever. Okie dokie. Let's press this. And I think we're going to call it a day. I need to get on my way. And we got a whole block done today. That gives me an idea of how long I have to allow. And then I'm going to go around and I'm going to stitch between the solid line and the broken line all the way around. Just to hold all these outside pieces in place. And then we'll trim it 1/4 inch from the solid line all the way around. And it will be completely done and ready to sew into the quilt, or into a quilt. And I like to make sure I keep all this foundation nice and flat so I don't distort it. And we'll be back on Saturday and see how much of this I have done. And we'll get a few blocks sewn together. And don't forget, next week, starting next Tuesday, we're going to be working on the double wedding ring. The wedding star quilt, the double wedding ring, and the starlet rings. They're all based on the double wedding ring. And we'll show you how quick and easy it is to make them with our product. Remember, Laura will not be doing a show tomorrow. But I will be back with you on Saturday. Cut those threads. Okay, so there we are. I'll give it a good pressing and then I will trim it out and it will be ready to join to my other block. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and we will see you on Saturday. Join us. We're going to do more of this and get some put together. So have a great day.